Before I begin, I must emphasize that I ask the following with all due respect, with no ill intentions. Given the significance of the Jacobs Creek Bridge, the county's desire to realign Bear Tavern Road, I want to assure that making decisions impacting the issues are doing so with no self-interest or other improper motivation.
I leave it up to the committee to determine how you wish to address a question like this. You're certainly under no obligation to answer it.
I can tell you that I worked for Johnson & Johnson in 87 and 88, and from 87 to 88, and that's the only relationship I've had with Johnson & Johnson in how many years now? Since 88, almost 20 years. I was a lot younger than that.
Any family members?
My family members do not work for Johnson & Johnson. They have never worked for Johnson & Johnson, and they have absolutely no relationship whatsoever with Johnson & Johnson.
No. I have my father-in-law worked for Ethicon. Probably about 15 years ago he left. I think it's, to be honest, if we all raised our hands and asked how many people living in New Jersey either worked or had a family member worked at J&J, you'd probably find a fairly high percentage. And I use Johnson & Johnson products at home, but that's about it for me.
I have an uncle who retired probably about, close to 10 years ago from Janssen. He worked there prior to J&J buying that. It was Pittman Moore at the time, and he was the groundskeeper. If that deems to be any type of conflict in your mind, it's no conflict in mine.
Anybody else?
So I'm the one who probably has the most recent history. My firm, a network security company headquartered out of Central New Jersey, competed for business with Johnson & Johnson back in early 2007. We lost the business and have no contact with them since.
I work for a corporation now. We do insurance work, so I don't think there'll be any connection from a business perspective, but we make investments. I don't know if Johnson & Johnson is among the investments that we make.
I understand that the attorney has indicated that it's your choice to answer the question, but you've all answered for yourselves. I'd like the answer to include your family members, your spouses, your children, your parents, and that. I understand it's your choice, but I think that that's an important part of the answer.
I'd like to respond to that. That's what I did. I think I heard Mr. Bird did. I think I heard Mr. Sandham.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Perhaps you should ask.
So each one of you is indicating that no member of your family, no spouse, has had any significant business relations during the period of time in which you've been voting on these issues, and there's been no significant business relation with Janssen and Johnson & Johnson. Is that what you're answering?
I think I've already answered that.
Well, I didn't hear that answer.
I believe I've already answered that, and I wonder if there's anybody else who wants to say the same thing again.
Well, could you repeat your answer, because I didn't hear it?
I've already answered that question.
Well, could you repeat it? I didn't hear it.
I believe I already answered the question. My family members do not work for Johnson & Johnson. They have never worked for Johnson & Johnson, and they have absolutely no relationship whatsoever with Johnson & Johnson.
Is that the answer? Your answer was no. My husband has no significant business relationship with Johnson & Johnson during the period of time that I've been voting on these issues.
My husband has never provided any consulting services to Johnson & Johnson, Janssen, or any other J&J division or subsidiary, nor has he ever solicited any such business. In fact, since starting his firm, Sidon Pharmaceutical Strategies, the only large pharmaceutical companies such as J&J or Janssen, which has been a client of my husband, is Pfizer, with whom he has maintained an exclusive consulting relationship among big pharmaceutical companies since January 2007. Contact from Pfizer can be provided to verify this relationship if required. I have heard of the allegations that you and others have made.
I haven't made any allegations, so
others have made.
Please.
But you're alleging now.
I haven't alleged anything.
I have heard the allegations, and I find them to be patently false.
Well, I've made none.
And are not substantiated by any data. And I have always done what I believe to be in the best interest of the township and the residents here in the 8 years that I've worked on this Hopewell Township Committee, and I find these false accusations to be painful to myself and to my family and to all of the many supporters who worked on my behalf for all these years. They are false. I deny them, and I find them to be without any fact.
I don't know what the allegations are.
I don't have anything more to say about this. I've said it.
Well,
Is
if
it
that's
any-
the case, I would like to finish what I've been invited to the podium to say. That I had asked that you deny that there are no conflicts, and you said that you had answered the question. I hadn't heard the answer. I guess you hadn't made it here in the room because I hadn't heard it. And I was asked,
We vote for people to represent us. And currently there's 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. So if we vote for Kim Johnson, there will be 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats.
It's inappropriate to use this forum for electioneering. Electioneering should not be done in the Township Committee during public meetings.
So if we vote for Kim Johnson,
But I submit that any sincere person would have concluded from a review of the record that it does not offer the slightest iota of proof that I have an unusual affinity for communist causes. I therefore conclude that Senator McCarthy's charges and insinuations are not only false, but utterly irresponsible, and under the circumstances reveal a shocking disregard for the interests of our country.